Hello and welcome in.
Please do not leave your luggage unattended on the station.
Welcome to the show.
And we're live. What's up, guys? Welcome to Dumb Jock number 11. I'm Nate Jackson. I'm here with a former teammate of mine today, Daniel Graham. Daniel Graham, a Denver native, went to Thomas Jefferson High School, CU buff, played for the Patriots, the evil empire, won a couple Super Bowls, and then came to Denver and then stole my number from me. We were both tight ends at the same time.
I stole it or I bought it?
He bought it. He bought it. We'll get into that in a little bit, but welcome, Daniel. How you doing, man?
Oh, I'm good, man. How you doing?
I'm good, man. Good to see you here.
Hey, I'm glad you invited me, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah, it's been a minute. You know, we've seen each other at a couple of alumni things here and there, the golf tournament. And you said you're a golfer.
I try to.
Which is crazy because, like, football players are usually not very good golfers, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Like, the quarterbacks and the kickers are.
Yeah.
Because they don't attack. And it's like a football player attacks. And you, you were tight end, you were a very good blocker. You knew how to attack. So how do you play golf and not attack the ball?
You know, I tell you what, man, you definitely have to take football away when you're out there golfing. And you will be surprised. It's a lot of good former football players that are good golfers.
Who's the best one that you played with?
That I play with?
Yeah.
Ebenezer Ekibon.
He's a huge dude too.
Yeah. Very good.
He can go. He's got like short game. He's got like touch.
Oh man, he got long game, everything, you know, and he's actually helped my golf game a lot because I try to play with him a lot. So,
did you play while you were playing football?
No, not really. You know, not really. I played more when I retired. Yeah, and you know, I mean, I love it now. It's just, you know, it's fun to go out. I'm not out here to try to make the PGA.
Why not?
So you know, so I can care less about what my score is. I just want to have a good time. You know, so yeah, that's it.
Are you shooting, like, what's your score? Do you keep score?
Well, you know what? I actually don't keep score. So last week was the first time I really kept score.
Oh, for real?
And I shot 112.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, man. Not too bad.
No, you know, I got time for the senior tour, you know.
That's
I got time to improve.
And your body feels all right playing?
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah.
Because you played football for 11 years in the NFL.
Yeah.
You played at CU.
Mm.
You had like you know, I don't know, all city, or you were an All-American at CU.
Yeah.
John Mackey Award winner.
Yeah.
Best tight end in the nation, drafted in the first round to the Patriots. And that was after playing at Thomas Jefferson High School.
Yeah.
You can learn a lot on Wikipedia, man. Like
it tells you everything.
Well,
huh?
yeah, like at Thomas Jefferson, you're playing, like, it said you were a long snapper.
Man, I did everything.
Kicker.
I did everything.
For real?
Yeah.
Dude, were you snapping the ball to yourself and then kicking it? How did that go?
You know what? Yeah, I mean, it was, you know, I mean, like I said, I did everything. I mean, I kicked off, I did field goals, I did long snap, you know, offense, play defense and stuff. Yeah, just wherever. Yeah.
So how'd you end up landing on tight end and that being yours? Because I also saw you said had like 12 sacks in 7 games or something.
Yeah.
So how'd you end up being a tight end?
Man, so I tell you what, you know, my football story is crazy. You know, people are just like, wow, I really didn't care to play football. I was blessed to be an athlete. I played 3 sports, and I didn't play football till high school. I grew up playing basketball and baseball. After my freshman year in high school, I actually quit football, and I got a new coach who convinced me to play football. So I quit baseball. So I only did the 2 sports. And
why'd you quit football in the first place?
You know, man, I just wasn't with the hitting. I wasn't with the cold weather. You know, and I mean, like I said, I grew up playing baseball my whole life, so it's summertime sport. You know, I'm used to the heat and stuff, and I really did not like the cold weather, being out there in the cold weather and stuff. And my freshman year in high school, I was a tight end. I was a tight end backup quarterback. You know, they wouldn't let me play quarterback because they said I was too big. But you know, I mean, I could throw the ball and stuff. But
how big were you at the time?
Man, still I was
same
big.
size,
yeah,
6'3".
Yeah, I was 6'3", probably about 220 and stuff. And,
prototypical quarterback size now.
Well, now it is, you know.
Like, no, we need you somewhere else.
Yeah, they was like, you know, no, you're gonna be tight end. So, you know, my first coach, Tony Lindsay, which is Philip Lindsay's uncle, he was my first football coach ever. You know, he put me at tight end, and you know, I was just stayed there at tight end, and you know, that's how I ended up being there.
Well, you were one of those rare tight ends who could block and catch, and they don't make those anymore.
Yeah.
Well, they do. George Kittle's one of them.
Yeah.
Shoot, who else?
Well, I'm gonna tell you, it's funny as you say, they don't make them like that.
Yeah.
I was actually built into being a tight end like that because my college coach, who I will arguably say is the greatest tight end coach ever. When I got to CU, John Embry's his name. When I got to CU, he told me, if you want to play tight end, you need to learn how to block. And I'm not worried about you catching the ball, because you wouldn't play tight end if you couldn't catch the ball.
Yeah.
But he taught me how to block, and that's all we did in practice. You know who drafted George Kittle?
Embry?
Yeah.
Oh, for real?
Yeah.
In San Francisco?
In San Francisco.
And he coached him?
He coached him.
He's not there anymore, though, right?
No, he's not there anymore. He also
worked with him for his first couple years.
Yeah. He also coached Mercedes Lewis.
Yeah.
So
he's still playing Mercedes Lewis?
Yeah, I think he is.
Man.
And so Mercedes Lewis, so John Embry coached 2 Mackey Award winners, and then Tony Gonzalez, if you look at his numbers, the best numbers he had was when John Embry was his coach in Kansas City.
And people don't realize the effort that it takes day in and day out to become a good blocker.
Yeah.
As a tight end.
Yeah.
I made the transition from receiver to tight end a couple years before you got there. So I was still learning when you got there, and I learned a lot from you, and it was just having to there's so much technical about what you're doing there, and there's so many little points of technical, like it's your feet, your hips, your hands, like your hat placement, like everything about it. And if you don't work on it every single day, then you get your ass kicked. But you're right. It's like the pass receiving stuff is the easy part, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's the easy part. And if you really look at it, how much time did you have to learn how to block once you converted over to tight end?
I mean, not a lot.
Yeah. And so when I was in college, I did this every single day. And offensive line, the coach has to try to teach 12 guys. Well, my tight end coach had 3 of us. So, I really was getting one-on-one, teaching. And, I learned hand placement, footwork, everything like that. And so, now I'm on the John Mackey committee now. So I get to see.
Oh, for real?
Yeah. So I get to see every year, all the tight ends, put my vote in. Nobody's really in the 3-point stance. Everybody wants to catch the ball. There's no glory in blocking anymore. Right. And you don't get paid as being a blocking tight end. So
once you win the award, the John Mackey Award, does that mean then you're in the committee, or
no? Because I didn't really become on the committee till after I retired.
Okay.
It's just a few former players that are on there and stuff. Get to put in our vote every year for the winner. Mm-hmm.
So when you look at a guy like Travis Kelce and they talk about how he's like, the best tight end, people say he's the best tight end to ever play the game. Do you agree with that?
No, I don't.
Have you ever seen Travis Kelce just lay a block where you're like, damn, Travis?
Yeah, I have not. And see,
he's a receiver, basically.
He's a receiver who, he gives his effort in the running game. But as far as my favorite tight end right now who's playing is George Kittle's, because he does everything, and he has that nasty attitude that I love about, just being a tight end.
Yeah, he wants to do it.
Yeah.
He you show when he's mic'd up and stuff, he's like laughing. He's like, he loves the blocking.
Yeah.
And then when you love the blocking and they believe you as a blocker, then the play action passes open up, right?
Well, you know what? And so I've been saying over the last few years that after the quarterback position on offense, the tight end is the most important position.
I agree.
Because first of all, we have to do everything.
Yeah.
But if you have a legit tight end who can stay on the field for 3 downs, it opens up the rest of the offense. If you look at the last year's NFL teams, the Final Four teams,
they all had good tight ends.
They all had a great tight end.
Yeah,
all of them.
So you like the young guy from Detroit?
I love
Laporta?
him.
Yeah, I like him too.
Yeah.
Mark Andrews, obviously, in Baltimore, Kittle, and then Kelce.
Yeah, and Kelce. And think about it. They open up the entire offense, which now it's hard to really. They're not tipping. The offense is not tipping to the defense what they're going to do, because these guys stay on the field for 3 downs.
Well, Travis Kelce's a weird exception though, because he doesn't block, right? And so it's like when you see Travis Kelce split right there, like Like it's kind of like what they do is pretty impressive. It's not like traditional tight end play out of that guy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But the tight end does have to know the running game. He's got to know the passing game. He's got to know pass protection.
Yeah.
He's got to know all three phases.
All three phases. And then on top of that, you know, like I said, I remember Coach Belichick told me I had to do the trifecta. As a tight end, we're playing Baltimore. I had to block Suggs. I got to block Ray Lewis. And I got to run routes against Ed Reed.
Oh, how'd that go?
Oh, it went good.
You know,
won? Yeah, we won the game, but it was a tough one. I mean, we won, I think it was like 13-6.
Is Suggs a Hall of Famer?
No, he's not, but he probably will be in the next few years. Probably, yeah.
So those are 3 Hall of Famers right there.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, think about this. As a tight end, this is what you have to deal with. You have to deal with all 3 levels.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I remember when I made that transition from receiver to tight end, the first mini camp, no pads. I was still basically a receiver.
Yeah.
I put on, 15, 20 pounds, but I was still running the same way. I was tearing it up, man. I was like, this is easy, man. This tight end's going to be great. And the training camp comes around, put on the pads, and it was, I'm trying to block Trevor Price.
Yeah.
I'm trying to block Al Wilson. I'm trying to do that, and it was hard.
And I mean, and like you're saying, it's hard to get to the league and then really try to learn how to block.
Yeah.
So imagine a rookie coming in who really never blocked in college.
Yeah.
And you're trying to pass that against Von Miller.
Yeah.
You have no chance.
Well, it's almost like coaches don't even ask him to do that now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think that, like, it seems to me that any coach should want to develop the blocking of a tight end. But it seems like sometimes, like Kyle Pitts, for example, like, do they want him to block? Do they even ask him to block? I don't think they do. And he hasn't been successful. Like, he was a first-round pick, right?
Yeah, well, like I'm saying, once you get to the league, it's too late to learn how to do that. I mean, because you got defensive end linebackers who, are skilled at their position.
Yeah. And,
they're going to run circles around you if this is the first time you're really being asked to, block or do something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You talked about Belichick. So you were drafted to the Patriots 2002 or 3?
2002.
The year after they won their first Super Bowl.
Yep.
And then the next year we won back-to-back Super Bowls. So they won 3 in 4 years.
Yeah.
What was that like getting there, being the first-round pick on a team that had just won a Super Bowl? What was the pressure like? Just what was the environment like? That was the beginning of their dynasty, right?
Yeah, it was, man. For me, being drafted there, now that everything's said and done, I mean, it was a blessing to be drafted there.
Yeah.
Being drafted, though, at the time, I didn't know what to expect. No rookie knows what to expect. And then on top of that, I'm the first-round draft pick being drafted to the team that just won the Super Bowl. So, it was a lot of pressure. And that first year was just a hard learning curve for me. I remember Coach Belichick came to me and said, if I could block Willie McGinnis and Mike Vrabel, I could block anybody in the league.
Yeah.
Well, for those watching, if you've never seen Willie McGinnis up close, I meet him and I'm thinking this is what every linebacker in the league,
right.
this is the size everybody, but
you had to do that every day at practice.
Yeah, every day at practice,
was he cool to you about it, or was he?
Oh no, he was, and so I didn't know what to expect going into New England, but once I got there, I realized, man, everybody was so cool. I mean, it was such a great locker room and stuff. Everybody was real cool, but Willie really taught me how to learn how to block. He taught me how to learn how to block someone that was bigger and stronger than me.
Mm-hmm.
And then Mike Vrabel taught me how to hold because he was so good at getting my hands off of him and stuff. And so that first year was, such a learning curve for me, just on really how to deal with now where, at this level, everybody's good. Yeah. And so you're going to see this week in and week out compared to college where it's not like that and stuff. So, but, my second year, going into training camp and stuff, it was like, okay, I got this now. Mm-hmm. And I remember them two coming up to me before the first game and like, okay, this is not training camp anymore, and that year, my second year is what really put me on the map as far as people realizing my ability to block. Nate, I hate the word blocking tight end. I hate it, because I'm not a blocking tight end.
Yeah.
There's never been a blocking tight end drafted in the first round.
Right. That's kind of an insult, right?
Yeah, oh, it is. To me, it's very much an insult.
Like when they call a quarterback a game manager or some shit.
Yeah. Because what I can't go out and passes and stuff because
Yeah.
I believe catching the ball is what won me the Mackey Award.
Yeah.
Blocking is what really set me apart from everyone else because I knew how to do it and stuff. But
That's what made a guy like Bill Belichick respect your game.
Yeah.
Because you could do both.
Yeah.
So you talked about what Willie McGinnis taught you and what Mike Vrabel taught you. What Willie McGinnis taught you was how to block a bigger man.
Yeah, bigger and stronger.
How do you block a bigger and stronger man?
Well, now as a tight end man, now you have to take your keys, which I know the snap count.
Yep.
I know where the ball's going.
Right.
And I need to beat you to that spot or wherever I need to get you, and then use their leverage, to get the block done.
Yep.
And stuff. So
yeah, as an undersized tight end myself, I had to learn that too. Like I got to be quick. I got to use my quickness.
Yeah.
I got to hit them first.
Yeah.
I got to get out of my stance. I know the snap count. I know I'm quicker, so I got to get there first and try to put my helmet right in here.
Yeah.
Just fucking hold on.
Yeah.
Another thing you mentioned with Vrabel was how to hold.
Yeah.
Now, some people who are listening might not understand what that means. Like holding, that's illegal, man. You're not supposed to do that.
Yeah.
Everyone's holding on every play.
Yeah.
So talk about what the right way to hold is.
Well, I mean, it's all about hand placement.
Yeah.
Because if you get your hands inside, they're never going to call holding on you.
Right.
And that was one thing, I knew is if I get my hands inside on you, just get ready for the next play because you're not going anywhere.
Get inside and then hold on
and
to
grip.
that
And hold on.
Jersey.
Yeah. And so it's just, those are the little keys that will make you successful as if you want to be a successful blocking tight end.
Willie McGinnis, when he was playing for the Browns, remember we went there in 2008?
Yeah.
Thursday night game.
Yeah.
We won that game. It was a fun game, but he knocked me out, man. It was messed up. Jay threw me a ball coming across the middle, and I dived for it. I had it in my fingers tips, bringing it in, and then just the lights went out. And he was on the other side, dropped into coverage, didn't have anybody, so he came back this way and just And it was one of those hits that would have been flagged for it these days, probably maybe kicked out of the game. But back then it was just like great hit, great hit, man. That's exactly what you're supposed to do. And then like I came to after a second or two, but then Greek was on top of me, like don't move. They're going to a TV timeout. I'm like, I'm all right, man. Like then he didn't want they don't want you to move right away. But I was moving my legs around just to let because it was national TV. Let my mom know that I was paralyzed because I did get hit like all up in there.
Yeah.
But Willie brought the wood, man. he was a big hitter.
Yeah.
So you spent 5 years in New England. Why'd you leave?
I left, man, because it's contract time.
Yeah.
And stuff, and they labeled me that blocking tight end. So they want to pay me as a blocking tight end. Well, my agent was telling them that he's not a blocking tight end, and it's not our fault how you use him.
Yeah.
Because now they kept me in a lot for protection because I can block these guys one-on-one without any help.
Right.
And so and our two tight end set, with Ben Watson now on the other side, got me blocking, got him running routes. And my thing was with the Patriots, like, Jeremy Shockey just re-signed a contract. They gave him, whatever they gave him. But I was like, just give me $1 more million than him and I'll stay. But, the thing was, you're a blocking tight end.
Right.
Wow. All right, then I'm out of here.
Yeah. So the back-to-back Super Bowls in 03, 04. 05 was when we sent y'all home in the playoffs, right?
Yeah.
And that was a pretty crazy game here. And you guys, the Patriots, you ended up leaving, but the Patriots, everyone's, Tom is the GOAT. And yes, I get Tom's the GOAT, but they didn't win another Super Bowl for 10 more years after that.
Yeah.
Which I don't think people connect that. Like there was a big gap there for the Patriots. So you got out right in time.
Yeah.
Because you wouldn't have won another one there. You know what I'm saying? But you came here in 2007 and I had been a tight end for 2 years and I had number 89.
Yeah.
And we signed Daniel Graham. And you wanted 89.
Yeah.
And we had a little negotiation.
It wasn't a little negotiation.
We made a deal, man. And, and you paid for that number.
Yeah.
I tried to get more out of you. You wouldn't budge.
No.
Because that was like what you offered was like the going rate.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh,
It's pretty much what guys would
Yeah.
pay.
Yeah.
And I was trying to, because, I saw you signed a pretty decent contract. So I was trying to get you.
You're trying to get me, huh?
Yeah. Just see if I can get you up a little, but you wouldn't budge off that number.
No.
And so I'm like, no, man, fine. And I walked away. And then the next day I came back. I'm like, all right, I'll take a little bit less. And you're like, no, it's 15.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, I'm 25. You're like, no, 15. I'm like, all right, no, forget it, man. I hope you enjoy 85 or whatever number you're going to get. And eventually we settled on 15.
Yeah.
And you went with 89.
Man, yeah, I appreciate it too, man.
Oh, I did.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. I wish I had that back then.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah. You know, and I was telling you earlier, man, my favorite tight end growing up wore that number. And I, you know, for the people from Colorado and stuff, you know, they know that most people know I grew up here. My dad played for the Broncos. I grew up a Bronco fan.
Yeah.
And people were like, well, Shannon Sharp wasn't your favorite? You know, no, I like Shannon Sharp, but I was watching football before Shannon Sharp was ever a Bronco.
Yeah.
As a little kid. And so Mark Bavaro was my favorite tight end, you know, with the Giants. And my godfather played for the Giants. So I used to watch the Giants a lot. So that's how Mark Bavaro became my favorite tight end. He wore 89. So that's why I wore 89.
Mark Bavaro was a badass dude.
Yeah.
And he could catch the ball too.
He could do everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he was how big is that guy? 6'5", probably.
No, you know, Mark is probably about 6'3", 6'4". Because the first time I really met him was when I got drafted to the Patriots. You know, he stopped by at practice and everything. So, you know,
did you tell him that he was like, you know, your favorite? Did you get to talk to him?
You know, yeah, I talked to him a little bit. I think he probably knew that before I got there. That's probably the reason why Belichick brought him up there. You know, because you know, I've said it in the
John
media.
Mackey Award winner, so it was
yeah. You know, I've said that before. You know, he was always my favorite tight end growing up.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I remember there's that iconic run of him, just like I forget which one it is. He made a catch and then he carried like
I think it was San Francisco. I think it was. Yeah,
and he carried like 6
dudes. Yeah. I mean, and he was a beast on that field. You know, and he just had that attitude. Yeah.
Who's the Mark Bavaro of the modern NFL? Kittle, probably,
Kittle.
Right?
Yeah, I would give it to Kittle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mark Andrews is a big, strong guy.
Yeah.
I don't know if he takes as much pride in the blocking though. Do you think he did?
No, see, Kittle's to me is the bar.
Yeah.
And so, you know, I don't think anyone takes pride like he does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you were here during the transition from Shanahan to McDaniels.
Yeah.
That fucked a lot of us up. You know, Shanny got fired, and then like a bunch of, you know, everybody got, not everybody, but I got 25 players got let go.
Mm-hmm.
Front office changed.
Everything.
You know, Josh was up there. I remember when Josh did get hired, I was still in the building rehabbing an injury, and I went up there, and they were like taking all the posters off the wall, all the pictures and stuff, and it was Josh's like secretary dude sitting there. I was like, what's going on here? I went into the Mike's old office, and Josh was in there sitting behind Mike's desk. I was like, this don't feel right, man. But I introduced myself, and I was trying to he was only a couple years older than me, right? I mean, and I was trying to have a conversation with him, and I left there knowing that I was in trouble. Yeah, like he wasn't giving me nothing. He already knew he was going to cut me, I think. But you knew him from your days in New England, right? Yeah. And so I'm sure that the people who have negative views of Josh, you probably have a little more favorable view of Josh. It's just knowing him, right? Yeah. And knowing that he maybe was in over his head, but he's a good dude. What was your take on Josh's tenure here?
Well, you know, I mean, like I'm gonna just say from the players, you know, it was just sad seeing Mike go, Shanahan go, and you know, so now when it's time to get a new coach, you know, and they hired Josh, I was excited because we're getting a coach, you know, from where the type of football and structure and system that I'm used to, he's coming here to Denver. And, you know, so I was excited when they hired him and stuff. You know, long story short, I think his downfall was that he tried to make this the Denver Patriots. Right. And, you know, the mindset in New England is totally different from everywhere else. And I did not realize this until I left New England. And so
how's it different? Because Chad Brown, you know, Chad was a radio partner, and I'm doing a podcast with him, and he talked about how like it was he was there in 2007. He ended his career there, and he had 15-year career, and he ended there, and it was like everyone there, it was about like getting the edge. Like, who showed up first? Who's more hydrated? You ain't drinking water, dude.
They told you that.
Yeah.
See, I mean, people don't realize.
Like,
I mean, it's
everything was-
little stuff like that.
Yeah.
We're over here talking about, oh, I've drank more water than you did today. I'm more hydrated.
Right.
It's little stuff like that was going on in the locker room and that was the thing. Oh, I got the edge over you today because I beat you here. You know, I'm gonna be the first one in the weight room.
Right.
You know, it was little stuff like that, and it was a competition in the locker room. You know, for real, who drank the most water, who's most hydrated.
Who's taking the most piss? Like,
you know,
whose piss is the most clear?
Yeah, man. And this you know, just the preparation, you know, just knowing all the assignments, knowing, and when I say assignments, I mean it's little stuff. I mean, it's like, you know, on third down, you know, what pressure they're bringing. I mean, we knew all this stuff, you know, and so and the mindset too was like, you know, the whole locker room understood we're here to win championships, and so it's none of this going out during the season. You know, we're getting our rest and everything, and
so guys weren't going out like when they had a night off. Like,
no, you know, it really wasn't any of that. You know, it's like we got all off season to do that, and so, you know, I think so when Josh coming here, bringing that here to Denver, you know, you're trying to put this system in when guys are used to, you know, going out every weekend and stuff, or, you know, and they're not really studying or in the playbook, you know, like that, you know, and I see this, and, you know, I mean, I saw this with two young gifted talents here with the Broncos who were in, you know, their second year, thinking like you're a vet and stuff, you know. It's like you're not even that, but, you know, so, you know,
it was players.
Yeah, I'm talking about players, you know. Well, I'm talking about Jay Cutler and Brandon Marshall. You know.
So they just didn't adjust well to the system that Josh was trying to put in.
Well, I'm gonna just say I'm saying these two guys, but there was a lot of guys on the team that they're not used to this. Like,
well, Shanahan ran a different type of ship, you know.
Yeah,
and Shanahan was the type of guy who, as long as you handled your business and did know the assignments and did work hard, he would let you do, you know.
Yeah.
And it resulted in success for him too. Like, he had back-to-back Super Bowls.
Yeah.
And he was trying to get back, and we got to the AFC Championship and hadn't won a Super Bowl yet. But he like trusted those old timers, like, you know, Elway and Rod Smith and those guys to balance it, right?
Yeah.
And so it was a different approach to football.
You know, and there was nothing wrong with his approach. It's just that what I'm saying with Josh coming here.
Yeah.
I mean, it was, you know, it was hard going to work on Monday in New England. You know, but you're bringing this very hard discipline atmosphere to a team that's relaxed, and now you're trying to get guys to feed into your system. You know, guys don't want to do that. You know, they're so used to something that's totally different.
Yeah.
And so, you know, I think, you know, for Josh, you know, he's trying to get guys to come in to, you know, feed into the system, but, you know, it's hard, and there's a reason why, you know, no coach has really left New England and been successful. Yeah, because they're trying to bring that. Yeah, you know, and it's hard to do that to a team. You know, change it, and then by the time you probably do get guys in there, you know, you probably aren't doing good. You know, and you're getting fired. So, you know, you really don't have that time to put that system in.
Yeah, that year 2009 when I got cut from here, spent that summer out of football, and I got signed to the Browns. I was there for a week. That was Mangini.
Yeah.
And he was doing the same thing. He was trying to make it, you know, the Cleveland Patriots himself.
Yeah.
Like, he was doing, like, tell me if this is some stuff that Belichick did. I heard he did, but Mangini would film warm-ups. And he would cut on the film at meetings and be like, you guys, like basically ripping everybody to shreds about their warm-ups. And like, if they're, you know, like trying hard enough in warm-ups and trying to get loosened up. And everybody knows in like football practice, your warm-ups is just you trying to get warmed up, especially in training camp when your body's sore and stuff like that.
Yeah.
He would call guys up in the middle of meetings and have them recite the different mantras that were written around the facility in big block letters.
Yeah.
Like, you know, you must choose the pain of discipline or the pain of regret, or, you know, the shit like that. And then you talk about knowing like what their blitz package is on third down and stuff. I was there for a preseason game And Mangini was doing that kind of stuff,
Yeah.
like having guys stand up and talk about, their tendencies on punt team. Like nobody knew that shit.
Yeah.
But then he would yell at them and tell them to sit down, and then the next day they'd have to stand up and do that stuff.
Well, Belichick, I never saw any film of stretching.
Okay.
And
it was it was not stretching. It was
calisthenic
type of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't get that because when I got drafted to the Patriots, it was a veteran team. So it was guys who already knew how to be professionals. Now, us as rookies are coming in just feeding into what we see and stuff. But I tell you, the one thing that I love about Belichick though is that he was fair from Tom Brady to the last person on the roster. Everyone's treated the same, and he expects the best out of everybody and stuff.
Yeah.
Obviously, Mangini, he's trying to bring some of that stuff over there, and he probably implemented a lot of his own what he's trying to do to the team and stuff. But there we go again. He was probably trying to make this to Cleveland Patriots and stuff, which you can't do that.
It just didn't work. He got fired. McDaniels. It was a similar thing. And when I got here in 2003, it was the same way with you in New England. It was full of veterans who had been there, right? Who they'd won Super Bowl. So it was like, oh, it's easy to I just follow Rod Smith. He'll show me what to do. You know, these guys have done it. They know how to do it. So Shanahan didn't really have to tell everybody what to do because the locker room showed him what to do.
Yeah, and I mean that's how it was. And for me, I mean we fall in line, or in New England you would get shipped out real quick. If you didn't and stuff. So like I said, I was fortunate to go to a team like that with veteran guys. It was a lot of guys to look up to, and especially as a rookie coming in to this is how you are. This is how it is to be a professional.
Yeah, and so there's different ways to be a head coach, right? And there's like the Shanahan model was successful. That was very different from the Belichick model, which is successful. The Sean Payton model was successful. Yeah, you ended up spending a year in New Orleans. And so you got to sort of see what it was like with Sean Payton, but that was the year he was gone.
I didn't get to see anything with Sean Payton.
But you got to see like the vacuum, right?
Yeah,
and like hear story, like feel his absence.
Yeah.
So talk a little bit about that time in New Orleans.
Yeah. So this was year 11 for me. I already knew in my mind that this was my last year playing, and this is the year Sean Payton suspended, and so Joe Vitt is now the head coach, and
this was over Bounty Gate.
Yeah, right? This is over all the Bounty Gate stuff, and so he was the head coach for the preseason, and then he suspended. So now the offensive line coach is now the head coach, and nothing against him. I forget his name, but this is the first time in my life, in my career, that I really saw the significance of a head coach, and I really saw that not everybody's made to be a head coach. It takes a special person to become a head coach and to really lead your team, to success and stuff. And like I said, the offensive line coach goes from coaching 12 guys to now you're in charge of a whole team. Yeah. And that last year was it was everywhere, everywhere but where we wanted to be as a team and stuff. And I really just saw the significance of a head coach.
Do you believe that Sean Payton's going to get it right around here?
I think he is. I think we're just going to have to give him his time. Especially after coming off of the previous coach, the previous staff, and the talent here, it's gonna, because no coach is really gonna be successful overnight, and it's even gonna be more than 2 years. So if
especially with the Russell Wilson situation, eating that money.
I mean, we're behind the ball, and it's gonna take a few years to really. Like you want to say, just get into positive now to where, okay, now he's here for a few years, and I know the fans out here, this organization expects, to be a winning organization. Yeah. Well, we've been down for a while, and it's going to take time to get out of that. And, I believe that if they give him his time to really get his team, get how he wants to operate this team and stuff, get it, successful, it's going to take more than 2 or 3 years. Yeah. And if not, it's just going to be continue of just where we are, just bad football.
Same
here in
cycle
Denver.
of like, oh, this guy didn't work. Let's try this guy. No, this guy didn't work. And the new guys who come in, they have to implement their vision. Like you said, it takes a while for that seed to grow, right?
Yeah.
And you got to think Sean Payton wants to spend like 10 years here, win a couple of Super Bowls, and then retire.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
He doesn't want to go anywhere else.
I mean, why would you want to go somewhere else? I mean, it's a great organization.
Yeah.
It's a great city to live in. It's a great fan base.
Yeah.
And as a head coach, I mean, it doesn't get too much better than this.
No, and you got the richest owner in the NFL who wants to do things the right way. Taking over for the Bolin legacy and wanting to carry that torch, right? Okay, so can the same logic be applied to needing a couple years to get it going to Coach Prime at CU? Last year they started off pretty hot and then faded pretty fast. What's your expectations of that program, and do you think Coach Prime's going to stick around to kind of see this thing through?
Well, I said going into year 2, for CU and Coach Prime and stuff, my expectations this year is get to a bowl game. Now that's 6 wins. I'll be satisfied, me personally, with 6 wins. Now, I know him and the rest of the team expect, much more success than 6 wins. But like I'm saying, I mean, it's going to take some time, to really build your program. But at the same time, too, it's much harder in college now, with guys leaving every year, everybody's roster is turning every year because, you're going to get players who aren't happy they're not playing, and so guys just want to leave. But, it's just crazy because, the kids now in college, I mean, there is no loyalty. They really don't want to work to really get, better, get to, if you're not starting, there's a reason why you're not starting. There's nothing wrong with, developing your skills, getting better behind someone else, but with teams just turning over every year, I mean, it's really hard now to have a successful team, in college nowadays.
So Coach Prime talked about how he doesn't really go and do recruiting. He just kind of lets them come to him because they know everyone knows Coach Prime.
Yeah.
But he's doing things differently. Like he's not going into the living rooms of these kids and sitting down with their parents and drinking their coffee and talking about, Mrs. Smith, I'm going to take a Is that a product of just the way things are now, or do you think that's, a knock against Coach Prime for not going out there and getting kids to come and just wanting them to come to him?
I don't think it's a knock, but at the same time, Coach Prime is probably the only coach that can do that, not go sit in the locker room and everything. I mean, as a recruit, I mean, obviously, you see the spotlight that they get. I mean, that now it's, almost national televised every game and stuff, and why would you not want to come play for him? The NIL just brings in a whole different aspect now of college football, which is, crazy. I mean, it's great that these guys are getting paid, but you got guys coming out of high school now thinking they deserve an NFL contract or something. It's like, you haven't even done anything in college and stuff. And, that definitely brings in a whole different aspect of harder to recruit players, unless you're at these schools, who have, just a faucet full of money to give to NIL. I mean, it's really made the playing field uneven now.
And so is that like money that the teams have to give to players, is that based on alumni and booster just donations? Is that pretty much it?
Oh yeah,
So is CU hitting you up and being like, what's up, we need to get some players here? I mean, how does it work?
Well, I mean, you really need to get the big donors and stuff, to really make an impact, on all this stuff, and I've tried to support, where I can, donate a little bit, to the school and stuff. Like any other alumni of any program, I want to see my, school succeed and stuff. But the NIL stuff now is just it's ridiculous now.
It's insane.
Yeah.
So CU lost both of their coordinators last year, and they got a couple. They got Pat Shermer on the offense, and then a guy on defense who hasn't done it before, but has a lot of experience as an assistant.
Yeah.
That turnover is going to be probably weird for the kids too, right? And so you're talking about like, just getting kids to stay in the program. That's what they need. They need guys to stay for 3 or 4 years. to build these things. Do you think Coach Prime, his vision is to stay for years? What do you think? Like, if you had a crystal ball, what do you see the future of the CU program looking like?
Well, I mean, you never know what he's going to do, and it's definitely going to be interesting to see what happens next year when his sons are gone. You know, as an alumni, would love to see him stick around here for some years and really build this program. He's definitely changed the program. He's done so much of changing it, just putting us back on the map of being a university. I mean, for so long, people didn't realize we had a football team. And we hope he will stay here and just build this program, because if he does stay, I definitely believe in next few years, that we can be a contender for the national championship.
Yeah. And there's a trickle down effect too, but from the energy and the money that he's bringing in. I mean, enrollment goes up.
Yeah.
Booster money goes up, and it goes to all the departments. I was talking to a professor from CU about it and just wondering her thoughts on it, and she's like, it's great because it's like everybody's feeling it. It's more attention for everybody, and it's more money for everybody. And so hopefully he sticks around.
Hopefully, like saying, I mean, the enrollment has gone up. I mean, the enrollment for Black students up in Boulder has gone up. Everybody has succeeded with him coming to the University of Colorado. And this is those outside of campus, businesses, small businesses, hotels, everything has, been, a plus because he's been here.
Yeah. Boulder, not traditionally the most diverse, town, right? And it's added a lot of diversity.
Yeah. Oh, it definitely has, and it's great to see the number of, African-American students who enrolled this year, because of what they say, the prime effect.
The prime effect, man.
Yeah.
It's real.
Yeah. Oh,
it's
yeah.
real.
Yeah.
All right. So you're a father to a 3-year-old boy.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I got a 4-year-old boy.
Yeah. Well, and I got 2 other ones too. I can't leave them out.
No,
yeah.
I know, but they're a little older.
Yeah.
And I guess the conversation that we were having before, the reason why I brought up the 3-year-old is about, you were talking about how you play a lot of golf.
Yeah.
And you like to let him know that you're going to play golf. So he wants to play golf.
Yeah.
So he doesn't want to play football.
Yeah.
You don't want him to play football.
No, I don't.
Why is that? Football's been good to you, man.
Football is good to me. And my son is not in the situation I was growing up, where I need this scholarship to go to college, because without it, pretty much wasn't going to college. I was fortunate and blessed to, have the career I did, make the money I did. So college is paid for already. And there's no guarantee that he will make it to the pros, have a career like I did.
Yeah.
And so why put your head through this trauma, when, you really don't need to, just now where CTE is and the head trauma and everything, I understand they're trying to make this a safer sport, but
do you think they've done that? Do you think so they changed the kickoff rule?
Yeah.
I don't know. Do you think this is a safer sport than it was?
I'm gonna just say it's safer a little bit than when you and I played, and just even with the guys before us that played.
Oh yeah.
And I know it's hard for us to see, some of the calls now, the rule changing and everything now.
Yeah.
But, until you meet someone or know someone who's had CTE and see how, real the head trauma is. And I can speak of that. My father passed away, stage 4 CTE.
Oh, really?
Because of the football stuff. It's like, I don't want my kid to go through this stuff.
Wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
About your father's CTE.
And my dad played back in the day where the helmets were trash, training.
Nobody talked about concussions.
Yeah, you didn't know about it.
The double days, even 3 a days.
Yeah. And it was back then, it was like a month, 2 months of 2 a days and stuff.
What position did your dad play?
Linebacker, middle linebacker.
Wow.
Yeah.
And was he exhibiting sort of symptoms prior to?
It's crazy because my mom when she saw the movie Concussion, she was like, wow, it opened up her eyes. She's like, I've been seeing these signs for so long. It's just crazy because the Broncos were playing the Patriots in the AFC Championship. This is the year that the Broncos won the Super Bowl, Super Bowl 50.
Yeah.
And my dad and I are at my house watching the Super Bowl, and he's just telling me he has a headache and stuff, and I'm like, well, you have migraines or something? He's like, I've never had a migraine. I don't know. This was on Sunday. He was already going to the doctor on Tuesday because my mom was telling me that he got lost coming home. My dad has been here in Colorado since 1972. He got lost coming home, putting his clothes on backwards. My mom was saying he has anger issues, which, shocked me. But then I had to look at it like, I'm not with him every day, so I don't see this. So I never saw that, but he's going to the doctor on Tuesday just to see, what's going on and stuff. And that Monday, my dad went into the hospital because he had glioblastoma. And so, which is the brain disease, but doing all that, we figured out, once he passed away that he had stage 4 CTE. So that's what was causing, him with, getting lost and everything like that.
And
so,
how much longer after that did he pass away?
Well, once he was diagnosed with glioblastoma, doctors told us 14 months, and it was exactly 14 months. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And CTE, for those who don't know, it's not something you can diagnose until, like, for sure, until you're dead.
Yeah.
Until they cut you open.
Yeah.
And, like, give you an autopsy and look at your brain under a microscope.
Yeah.
And so that's why, a lot of former players are scared because we don't know.
Yeah.
There's so many question marks, right?
So many question marks, but, and what people misunderstand is that, or, people want to think CTE is a football thing. It's any sport. If you've had a concussion or seen stars, you might as well step in the line of possibly having CTE. It's just bigger in football.
Yeah.
But you really don't know until you pass away and stuff. So,
well, the idea with football, we always thought that the helmet protected the brain.
Yeah.
Because the skull doesn't crack, so it must be fine, right?
Yeah.
And the brain doesn't have pain sensors in there, so your brain doesn't hurt. But it's smacking against the inside of your skull every time your head decelerates that fast, right?
Yeah.
And it's over and over and over. And the NFL tries to protect guys by flagging the big hits. Like the receiver gets crushed coming across the middle, and they flag that one, and they act like they're keeping the game safe because of that. Yeah. But it's really the big boys down in the middle who are hitting every play, and nobody even pays attention to it.
Yeah.
And so that's why, to me, it was like, okay, Kareem Jackson gets suspended a bunch of times, and they're like, okay, that's not how you play the game. You're out of here. But you look at offensive and defensive linemen, they're hitting helmets every fucking play. Linebackers coming downhill, and everybody's cracking heads, and they don't do anything about that. They're not trying to stop that.
Yeah, I mean, you can't stop that.
No, that's what I'm saying.
And that's the football thing. It's just they're really just trying to stop the big hits, and I think because concussion came out and everything, they're trying to make it safe, just to make it to protect themselves, and everything.
There's a lot of PR involved. Involved in that. The concussion settlement was one. The concussion protocol that they put players in, the rules changes, and the independent neurological professional apparently who's supposed to be spotting this stuff on the sidelines. But it's really hard to pull a player out in the middle of the game. You know what I mean? Like, because you don't. Like we were talking about earlier, that Willie McGinnis hit. Like I was ready to go back in the game. Man. I mean, they didn't put me in, thankfully. But it's like the adrenaline's going. The coaches are trying to win a game, right? Everybody's trying to win, right? And so, and a lot of times the TV, the networks, the guys laying out, they cut away. They cut the commercial.
Yeah,
you don't want to see that.
They're not trying to show all that.
And so when you at the end of an 11-year career. I mean, aside from the brain injury, there's probably like everybody when they move on from football, I think goes through a little bit of some darkness. Like, what am I now? What do I do? I mean, did you go through any of that, or were you ready to walk away?
No, man, I really didn't go through any of that. When I was done, I mean, so my last year I was in New Orleans, I played probably 5 or 6 games. I knew going into that year, though, this was my last year. And once they released me, after week 6 or whatever, I signed my papers the next day, and I was happy to sign. I mean, I had 2 other teams call me you know, to come in, but my mind and body was done, you know, so I knew I was done. And I don't miss one bit of it. And it was like that for me the day I signed my contract of retirement, you know.
Well, you didn't even really want to play football in the first place.
Yeah, not really.
You were like, I'm good, but I'd rather play baseball.
Yeah. You know,
but then you had to go on to a Super Bowl winning team and win 2 Super Bowls in your first 3 years.
Yeah.
And so you're probably like, I got to do this as long.
Well, I mean, you know, so, you know, when I talk to kids, you know, and I just tell them, you know, your parents probably don't like the jobs they work at, but this is what they do for a living.
Yeah.
Football is what I did for a living. So I always tell people, this is what I do for a living. That's not who I am. I grew up playing basketball and baseball. So I was never that kid that said, you know what? Oh, I dreamed of catching a Super Bowl, you know, a game-winning touchdown in Super Bowl or any of this stuff. You know, I never did. I thought I was going to be a baseball player. That's what I really wanted to do and stuff. So, you know, I was just fortunate, you know, blessed to be an athlete, to be able to play, you know, football and stuff. And so football got me a scholarship to college, got me drafted, and I was able to make a career out of it.
Yeah.
And, you know, although I didn't really like football like that, I'm gonna go out here and give everything I got, you know, on this field. Because, you know, in this ultimate team sport, you know, the next guy is counting on me to do my job, and I'm counting on this person to do theirs. So I'm gonna go out here and give everything I got.
Yeah, the locker room, the camaraderie, the team, you know, the brotherhood. That thing is hard to replace, right?
Yeah.
And I'm just golf do that a little bit, or
you know, it does. You know,
you get to go on a group of 4.
Yeah,
right?
you know, and I play with a lot of my old teammates.
Yeah.
So, you know, I mean, still got that a little bit, you know, and it's fun just to go out there, with them.
Yeah. Who else do you play with? Eb? And...
Ebenezer, Ekibon, Andre Davis.
Yeah.
You know, I've been trying to get Stokely to invite me out one time to go play some golf with him and stuff, you know. Yeah.
He's too, you got to get that 112 under 100.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah, I'm going to hold him back.
Yeah. But he plays a lot of golf.
Yeah.
He plays a lot of golf. He's pretty good. Well, shoot, man, we got to go out there sometime.
Yeah.
And hit him around. I'm probably right around there with you.
Yeah. But see, we're out to have a good time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. We're not here to make the PGA.
Yeah. Not yet.
Yeah. Not yet.
Senior tour, man.
Yeah. The senior tour. Yeah.
Right on, man. Well, thanks for joining me here, DG.
Oh, yeah. Appreciate it, man.
You, Daniel Graham, Denver legend,
Yes.
CU Buff legend, John Mackey Award winner, Super Bowl champion, all around good dude.
Yeah.
I appreciate you joining me.
Man, I appreciate it.
Yep, that's it for Dumb Jock number 11. Daniel Graham, I'm Nate Jackson, Guerilla Sports. See you guys next time. We're out.